Good morning, students. Today we will start Fredholm theorems. There are three Fredholm theorems. The first Fredholm theorem is the Fredholm first theorem. The statement of the theorem is the inhomogeneous Fredholm integral equation of second kind, which is given by Gs is equal to Fs plus lambda integral a to b kst gt dt. This is inhomogeneous Fredholm integral equation of second kind. Here the function f and the function g, these are integrable functions. We will prove that this equation has a unique solution given by Gs is equal to Fs plus lambda integral a to b gamma st lambda ft dt, where the resolvent kernel gamma, that is the ratio of the determinants dst lambda and d lambda, where this d lambda that should be non-zero, this gamma that is a meromorphic function of the parameter lambda, and this is the ratio of the two functions. These two functions are entire functions which are given by the series dst lambda is equal to kst plus summation p varies from 1 to infinity minus lambda raised to the power p divided by p factorial integration p times of the function k. In the first row we have the variables as x1, x2, x3, xp. In the second row we have the variables t, x1, x2, x3, xp. So these are the integrations with respect to x1, x2, x3 and so on up to xp. This is symbol which is explained by using this notation. The notation is for this symbol, if we have the kernel k, which is the function of s1, s2, s3, sn in the first row. In the second row we have the variables t1, t2, t3, tn. So this notation can be written in the form of the determinant. In the determinant, in the first row, the first element is k s1 t1, second is k s1 t2, third is k s1 t3 and so on. The last is k s1 tn. In the second row we have k s2 t1, k s2 t2 and so on, k s2 tn. And in the last row we have k sn t1, k sn t2, k sn tn. So this is the notation which we have used in the definition of the determinants dst lambda and d lambda. D lambda is also an entire function which is given by the series 1 plus summation p varies from 1 to infinity minus lambda raised to the power p divided by p factorial and p times integration of the function k, which is the function of the variables. In the first row we have x1, x2, x3 up to xp. In the second row we have x1, x2, x3 and so on up to xp. So we will use the notations which we explained already for the defining of these two entire functions. So this is called Fredholm first theorem. In particular, the solution of the homogeneous integral equation. Homogeneous integral equation means where the function f is 0. So in that case the solution is the trivial solution, means that is 0. So we will prove this theorem now. So in order to prove this theorem you will have to firstly do the Fredholm method of solution which I explained yesterday. So till this step you will do from there. We obtained the value of the determinant, Fredholm determinant, which is dn lambda given by 1 minus lambda h k11 minus lambda h k12 and so on minus lambda h k1n in the first row. In the second row we had minus lambda h k21, 1 minus lambda h k22 and so on minus lambda h k2n. In the last row we had minus lambda h kn1 minus lambda h kn2 and so on 1 minus lambda h knn. Now let us expand this determinant in the powers of minus lambda h. So from this determinant we can see that the term which is constant term Constant term means the term which is not containing the factor minus lambda. We can see that that term is obtained 1 into 1 into 1 and so on. That will be 1. So now let us find the term containing minus lambda h in the first power. So from here again, from the determinant, you can see that the terms which contains minus lambda h in one power, those are obtained by minus lambda h k11 into 1, minus lambda h k22 into 1 and so on, minus lambda h knn into 1. So these terms will be the terms which contains minus lambda h in one power. So we can say that the term containing minus lambda h in the first power is the sum of the terms defined by the factors of this type. The factors of this type minus lambda h kvv. Here v varies from 1 to n because the first term which will contain minus lambda h in one power, that will be minus lambda h k11, the next will be minus lambda h k22 and the last will be minus lambda h knn. So in general we have used the symbol kvv. So this type of terms are the terms which contains minus lambda h in one power. Now let us see the terms which contains minus lambda h in the second power. In the determinant we can see that the terms containing minus lambda h raised to the power 2, those type of terms that are given by the sum of the determinants of this form, minus lambda h whole square into the determinant kpp, kpq, kqp, kqq. Here the pair pq, that is arbitrary pair of integers which we have taken from the sequence 1, 2, 3 and so on up to n, and p is less than q. In the same way we can find the factor containing minus lambda h whole raised to the power 3. We can see that that is the sum of the determinants of the form minus lambda h whole raised to the power 3 into the determinant. In the first row we will have this type of terms kpp, kpq, kpr. In the second row we will have kqp, kqq, kqr. In the third row we have the terms krp, krq, krr. Here the triplet pqr, that is arbitrary triplet of integers which we have taken from the sequence 1, 2, 3 and so on up to n, with this condition p is less than q, less than r. So in the same way we can find the remaining powers of the factor minus lambda h. Now we can write the determinant dn lambda. So the determinant dn lambda can be written as, so the constant term was 1, so that will be 1. The term with minus lambda h, that was the sum of the factors of this type. So this is the term which contains minus lambda h, and the next term which contains minus lambda h whole square, that was the sum of the terms of this type. Here we have taken 2 factorial in the denominator because here in this sum we are taking all the permutations of the pair pq. So you know that if we have 2 elements, then the number of arrangements can be formed by using those 2 elements, that is 2 factorial. That is why we have taken the division by the corresponding number of permutations in each term. So in this term we have for a pair we have 2 permutations, therefore we have taken 2 factorial in the denominator. In the third term you will take, because in the third term you will have triplet pqr, so by using the 3 elements you can have 3 factorial arrangements. So you will divide by 3 factorial in the third term, and in the nth term minus lambda h whole raised to the power n. In this term we have divided by n factorial because by using n elements we can have n factorial permutations. So this is the number of permutations which we have taken in the division in each of the terms. So we have obtained the value of the determinant dn lambda. Now by using the notations which we have already defined, so by using those notations we can write this determinant in the short form. So let us once again define the notation. We will use this notation k. In the first row if we have s1, s2, s3, sn. In the second row we have t1, t2, t3, tn. So what we will use the notation, this is a determinant in which in the first row we have k s1 t1, k s1 t2 and so on, k s1 tn. In the second row this is fixed S2, and the terms in T are varying. So K S2 T1, K S2 T2, and so on, K S2 Tn. In the last row, Sn is fixed. So we have Ksn T1, Ksn T2, and so on, Ksn Tn. So this is the notation which we will use to write all the above determinants which we have defined in the term dn lambda. So by using this notation, for example, if you are to write the notation for this KPP, KPQ, KQP, KQQ, this determinant by using the short notation can be written as, because KPP means KSP, KPQ means KSP, SQ, KQP means KSQ, SP, KQQ means KSQ, SQ. Now, by using the notation which we have defined, this is K. In the first row we have SP, SQ. In the second row also we have SP and SQ. So this is the notation. So we'll use these notations. So dn lambda can further be written as 1 minus lambda h summation p varies from 1 to n k sp sp, because we have used this notation also because we were having kvv. So kvv will be ksv sv. So we have used p here, so that the term which contains minus lambda h will become this by using the symbols. The second term which contains minus lambda h whole square by 2 factorial, by using this notation, that will become this, and the last term by using this notation, that will become this. Now if we take n approaches to infinity, then we will have h approaches to 0, and we know that every integral can be written as the limit of summation. So limit of summation here, that will become integration. So this will become single integral, and this term will become double integral, because here we are having double summation. So double summation ki limit double integral, and so on in this way. So each term of this dn lambda will be converted into the integrals as we take the limits as n approaches to infinity. So taking the limits, we get dn lambda की जो limit है, that we have denoted by d lambda. So first term 1, that will remain as it is. The limit of the summation which contains the summation in only one variable, so we get single integral. Double summation is converted into double integral, and the last summation is converted into the integral n times, because in that summation we had p1, p2, p3 up to pn. So that is converted into the integration n times. So we have obtained the Fredholm first series, means the determinant d lambda. We can write this term in the form of summation also. So d lambda is equal to 1 plus, because here we are having minus lambda raised to the power 1, here minus lambda raised to the power 2, here we are having lambda raised to the power n. So we can write in general 1 plus summation m varies from 1 to infinity minus lambda raised to the power m divided by m factorial into the integrals k s1, s2, s3, sm in the first row. In the second row we have s1, s2, s3, sm. And these integrations are with respect to the variables s1, s2, s3 and sm. So till yet we have obtained the Fredholm first series. The remaining part of this theorem we will continue tomorrow.